Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I am back once again with 5 more tips on how to manage your Rockstar virtual assistant. This video series is designed for small business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, trainers, authors, bloggers, people that are out there every day trying to figure out how to grow their business. Whether you have a team of one or a team of several and you need to level up your business, a virtual assistant can help you do that. Today we're going to talk about how to have better communication online with your virtual assistant. Very specific topic designed to optimize how you can be even more successful with your virtual assistant. And the key is communication. This is something that I've lived and learned and practiced for many years. I hired my first virtual assistant back in 2012, and I've grown several businesses with virtual assistants. I've also helped over 50 companies and entrepreneurs grow their businesses with virtual assistants, and I currently have over 40 virtual assistants working for me right now full time. So in my business, this is how we do it. This is how we communicate with me to my team and how I encourage most of my clients to communicate as well. Number one, be professional or follow etiquette, right? Kind of an old-fashioned term, but the idea is that, we get lost in a world of quick abbreviations and emojis and acronyms, and sometimes we need to actually spell out what we want to say. So you can always go for the quick and easy, but sometimes you want to look for opportunities where you actually want to say, hey, thank you very much, and not just give a high five or a applause emoji. Sometimes you want to really give people recognition. Sometimes you have to hold them accountable. Sometimes you want to inspire them or empower them. There may be times where you actually want to really go and really think about what you're saying. You also want to make sure that you're not being rude when you use social media. You don't want to tag people too much. You don't want to overshare with certain people, especially if you're in a group or you're constantly sharing the same kind of content over and over again. These things are not very fun. They're not very professional, and they definitely don't win you a lot of fans or clients. So when you talk with your VAs, when you're having conversations with them, especially via chat, make sure that you are following, some level of etiquette that you think is appropriate for your business. Especially true with your clients, because if you are very, very casual with your VAs will be very, very casual with you and then eventually your clients. And you want to maintain that level of professionalism. Number two, convey the right tone, right? So one of the things, again, that's the trouble with communication is that we either talk into the camera and we're not having conversations, but we're just sharing, or we're writing things out, or typing things out, or even, we're abbreviating things and using emojis and using stickers and all that kind of stuff. When we do that, it doesn't always convey the right tone, so we have to go above and beyond to make sure we're adding the right tone. Now, you can use a lot of emojis to give an emotion to what you're saying. Like when you tell somebody, hey, I don't think that was the best use of that video, or, I wasn't really too happy with the content that we gave this one client. When you give that feedback, it's pretty hard on somebody, right? But you can come up with a better luck next time, or we'll do better, or you can find an emoji or a sticker or something that will put some kind of positive spin on that feedback. So you want to find ways to convey the right tone. Again, because if you're doing this with your clients and not your VA will not be able to do what you do with your clients. And so you want to basically practice what you preach, right? If you want them to have good quality conversations or engagements, or you want their posts that they're doing for you to always be a certain optimism, a certain, looking forward, progressive minded kind of, this is how we're going to grow, how we're going to do things. Yet you internally with a VA have a negative attitude, or are really rude, or are not really trying to empower them, then it's hard for them to go out and do the same thing for your clients. I hope that makes sense, right? So you want to make sure you're conveying the right tone. You want to provide thorough responses, right? Again, virtual assistants, think about this. They're somewhere else. You probably haven't met them. You probably have very little interaction with them. So you really need to figure out what it is that you want them to do, right? So you want to be clear and concise. When I first start out with a virtual assistant, I may use some email conversations where I can really spell things out versus doing a messenger on Facebook or WhatsApp, because that's more limiting. I also want to make sure that the contracts we go through are clear. I want to make sure that the requirements for the client are clear. I want to make sure the VA is well armed with as much knowledge as possible. And so I want to make sure that I'm very thorough when I talk to them. And when they ask questions, I follow up with those questions. I make sure I get everything. A lot of times they'll ask multiple questions, or they'll ask questions that are kind of vague because they're not sure what they're asking, and they need a little, prodding and a little guidance from us. So just think through the thoroughness of your questions and your responses with your virtual assistant. Again, especially if you're using WhatsApp or Facebook. The best way to do it, again, is think about everything you want to accomplish and put it in an email. So it's documented, it's easy to refer to. And then keep, Messenger or WhatsApp or IG messages or whatever you want to do to communicate with your VA. Keep those more like in the day kind of thing. Like, did you see this? Can you fix this real quick? But the big strategic stuff should come probably still via email, or even video if you want to record a video for that. You should definitely talk to your VA once a week. You should have some kind of quick Zoom call or quick FaceTime or something just to check in, even if it's for 5 minutes. Don't get out of the habit of doing that. We tend to think we don't need it. We're too busy. They're on their own, running and doing things, and then things start going a little sideways. Next thing you know, you're trying to fix stuff because you weren't communicating effectively. Believe me, 5 minutes a week check-in call will save you so much trouble because you'll be always on top of what's happening with that VA, and you'll be there to answer questions for them in real time versus things building up over time. We have this mindset where we want the VA to do everything without us being involved. And when that happens, it pretty much always fails. Unless you get to a point where the VA's been with you a long time, the VA is really good, knows exactly what your vision is, knows your voice, and can do things for you. I have that in my case in several parts of my business, like my LinkedIn, my YouTube channel. The VAs that work on those platforms have been doing it for a long time, and they're very autonomous. But they still check in with me occasionally, like, hey, can you look at this video, make sure that's the right edit? Hey, can you check out this LinkedIn message and make sure I responded right? A good VA will do that, but it takes time. Several months, maybe a year before you get that VA to be the automated person that you probably wanted them on day one. That's a reality check for a lot of people. They think a VA is just going to jump into their business and start doing stuff left and right. That's a fallacy. That's going to fail because a VA has to learn your business, has to learn you, has to learn your style, has to learn your clients, has to learn the environment that you operate in. That takes time, like it would if you hired someone and brought them in to work side by side with you. You wouldn't expect them to be able to do things right away. You expect them to have some kind of ramp up period. You do the same thing for a virtual assistant. Number 4, you have to build trust, right? You have to think about how you strategically build trust with your virtual assistant. It goes both ways, right? You want to trust them and they need to trust you. So you start giving them some things that they can do and let them master it. Here's a secret to building trust. Let them master one thing first before you give them multiple things. I call this mastering the vertical before going horizontal, right? Let them be an expert, feel like an expert. Let them excel in something before you give them too many things. If you give a VA 5 things it wants to do, they'll be mediocre in all 5 of the things you give them. If you give them one thing to do, they're going to do it really, really well. And then if you give them a second thing, then they can do that pretty well as well, and so forth. You add on as they do things that allows them to be successful. This is a key to success, right? Master the vertical before going horizontal. This builds trust. Also, communication back and forth, regular scheduled meeting times builds trust. Having their back when they make a mistake and not blowing up at them builds trust. Now, not every VA is going to be perfect, and some people will have to replace their VA because it's not the best VA match. It's not the best chemistry, they don't have the same vision. But most of the time, the VA that you're going to be working with, they're a quality person. They probably got a college degree. They probably speak pretty good English. They've worked professionally before. They are probably the breadwinner, providing most of the income for their family. So they're not somebody who's just doing this kind of fly-by-night thing. So they want to work with you long-term, and that they're putting their trust that you're going to be able to work with them for a long time, that your business is successful, that you are straightforward, that you are working with them to be able to really develop trust, a long-term trust. Again, most of my employees that I have been with me a long time. I talk about this a lot. One of my strengths as a business, as a virtual staffing business, is that my attrition is almost zero. I lose very, very few virtual assistants. Most of the ones that do leave because they have a life change. they're moving somewhere, or they're getting married, or they have a young child they have to take care of full time, something like that. Most of my VAs, though, are work from home moms. They are women who used to have a professional job in an office somewhere, most likely a call center, but now they want to be around their young children, and they want to work full time from home. So that's really my secret sauce. And what I do to be more successful is I build trust by hiring people that are easy to trust and are looking for people to work with that they can trust. So building trust. Number 5, stay connected. I mentioned this before. I'll highlight this one more time. Schedule meetings with your VA on a regular basis and stick to it, even if it's 5-minute check-in calls, right? First couple weeks, you work with a VA a couple hours. Second couple weeks, you work with a VA maybe an hour. After the first month or so, you should be talking to your VA a couple quick messages, maybe daily, maybe less than not daily, having a check-in call, a video call of some sort once a week, and then maybe even going once every 2 weeks at some point. But again, you don't want to push them away before they're really competent. You want to make sure you've built that trust, you've built better communication systems, then it will last long term. This is again how I built my business. This is again what you need to do to build your business. You need to look at your virtual assistant as somebody that you want to communicate with as much as needed to get them what they need to be successful. If a VA fails, it's almost always because the communication and the expectations weren't set at the beginning. So that's my tips for today. I hope it helped. 5 steps for better communication. Please subscribe to the channel or drop a comment below if you have any. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, go to sonicva.com, sonicva.com, and you can sign up for a conversation with me about how to get a virtual assistant for your own business. Thanks a lot for your time. Now get out there and be awesome.